Hello and welcome back to AG the Champion. This is F122, my team career mode, season 1, and we've got an all-new driver lineup and a brand new team. In addition to the brand new set of regulations for this year's cars, we're here in Bahrain as usual for the season opener, the new team being Subaru PRODRIVE, with the iconic Subaru Legacy RS WRC livery, and it resembles the livery that Subaru used many years ago when they were in F1. A white and pink livery, with a touch of green and blue as were the Subaru colors of the time. I'll choose a high-speed setup that'll help me on the straight, but I'll be compromising a bit on the corners. Here we go for our first outlap. It'll be great to get a feel of how the car behaves, as I do not know what to expect with these brand new cars with their higher profile tires and the completely different design and aero to the previous cars. For this career save, I decided to favor cornering ability over acceleration and top speed, and that's the complete opposite of what I used to do in the previous F1 games. I figured if Subarus are good at cornering on the track because of the Boxer engine which helps the center of gravity and the amazing four-wheel drive system, then why shouldn't my generic looking F1 car that I claim is a Subaru handle well also? Here we go for the first lap in this car. There is a car ahead of me, but he's too far ahead for me to gain any slipstream. So I will have to rely on the chassis aerodynamics setup that I chose and my skill or lack thereof to be able to set a decent lap time. The clerk just sets the fastest time. The Ferraris do seem fast, or at least that's what I think, after viewing the lap times in the practice sessions. I am not sure how well Red Bull will do in this first half of the season and how quickly the midfield teams will develop, and if they will be able to catch up with the top two cars. I nearly lock up on one of the corners that I dislike the most in the F1 calendar, but the car seems to be sticking onto the track, especially around the longer corners, but I am struggling with oversteer since I decided to put the traction in medium. Yes, it's not off completely, but I'll get there eventually. I managed to avoid touching the inside curb, which has caused me to spin countless of times before. I brake early and get a very clean line through this corner, therefore stepping onto the accelerator much earlier as I straighten the car. I remember driving F2 cars on this track, and it's very easy to lock not only the front but the rear tires on this corner. One thing I found out with these F1 cars is that I have to brake much earlier than I used to before. Here we go down the main stretch. Let's see what time I got. 1:33, that puts me in P7. 800ths between Tsunoda and I, which I think is a decent result for my first lap. But these times are definitely not going to stick, especially when we head toward the end of the session. So far I've managed to get a better delta, already 2/10ths ahead of where I was before. Drogovic is in P6 now, so this lap ideally should take me into the top 5. The times Alpines and Subarus are setting seem quite close. 4/10ths faster. I could be on provisional pole with this lap, but I take too much of the curb and I lose the rear end spinning the car. I roll the car backwards, I try to spin it in the right direction, but to my absolute shock I end up getting stuck in the gravel. In all the previous F1 games I've never gotten stuck anywhere. I seem to have gotten stuck on a slightly elevated bit of the circuit, so I doubt this is a new feature. From the replay it looks like the car is balancing on some bumps, so it does make sense. Nothing I try seems to be working, so I'll probably get disqualified, but I will retire from the session so that I get to keep my position. In the end I end up 14th, with my teammate in 16th, with a gap of nearly 2 seconds to the leading car. That's worse than I expected, but at least we're not last. Not last.